starting with episode 6 of SAO. It's something that we have finally come to where Asuna infiltrates the ocean turtle and she's going to get these answers. Whereas Kirito, can you actually fix him up, basically? And we get to kind of see why the STL is being developed, what Wrath is, and what the true objective of Kikuoka's plans are with the STL and with developing the first bottom-up AI. Now, in this episode, this is where they decide to kind of talk about it. Like I said previously on my video talking about episode 5, Yui's the one that kind of actually explains a lot of those things. And episode 5 does kind of make Asuna look not as strong and confident of a character as she is. Again, in this episode, I noticed that they kind of decided to change a little bit of how they would introduce a lot of things, whether it be Miss Aki actually being a first sergeant, graduate under the SDF Academy for becoming a nurse. That was actually something that Rinko would ask. Rinko would ask a lot of the questions, and Asuna was actually extremely knowledgeable, or she was extremely perceptive of these things. So, for instance, Rinko would say, wait, are you actually a nurse, or are you just playing pretend? And what Asuna said in the light novel, she said she is a nurse, but that's not the entire story, because she has to have some type of background in order to be here. So she was like, that's actually pretty perceptive of you, and that is true. She's like, I did work with SDF, and she's like, okay, if you did, then that means you would have had to be, if you graduated and you worked with SDF, you would have to be in a hospital that deals with those types of people. However, what Asuna decided to say was, she goes, you might not work at a hospital, but you're looking for patients who are under, the SDF district, and that's why she is the, I guess, sole caretaker of Kirito. So that's something that I thought was really cool. The anime really doesn't do as great of a job as the book does, showing that Asuna is like actually super confident. She's really knowledgeable, and she like knows a lot of these things that you're just kind of like, man, what's going on, type of thing. They also made Rinko, for whatever reason, kind of like the more cool, nonchalant type of thing. Like, nah, she was like very inquisitive. She was the one that's asking a lot of questions, and Asuna would kind of give input. She would put her perspective into it, and then Kikuoka would be the one that would turn around and say, okay, yes, that is correct, and then he would add on top of what Asuna said from the book. One thing that I was a little upset is that somewhere in the light novel, as Asuna, Kikuoka, Rinko are all traveling down to go see Kirito, in the book, I 100% remember this, because it doesn't make any sense why you would put this one little phrase and then just not even mention it ever again. Unless they mention it down the road, then hey, I'm gonna wait. But this is something that I have to kind of point out. While they're going, while they're walking, they're talking, they're going to go see Kirito, they're kind of explaining like, hey, we have 2 STLs up in here, and then further down below, we have 2 more STLs, but Kirito's on the one over here. I'm going to go take you over here. As they're walking this way, somebody else is walking this way. For some reason, Reki Kawahara decides, hey, Asuna has a bad feeling about this one dude. And she doesn't know what it is. I don't know why they decide any of this, but she, for some reason, has a very bad feeling, and she's just like, something about that guy stands out. Your sniper senses, your spidey senses, whatever. Something about him is standing out. I don't like it. And so as they pass, she kind of is just like, man, something about that fella right there. Now, I don't know if that could be somebody else, like, could be the dude from Ordinal Scale. We saw that at the end of the movie, Kikuoka kind of recruits him, and he's like, hey, you're gonna come work with me instead of going to jail because you're pretty smart. It could have just been that dude, and he just looks different. Whether he got a different hairstyle, whether he's, clean shaven, different type of clothes, something, I don't know. It could have been somebody that is actually, a threat, and maybe it could be someone working undercover that's with Laughing Coffin. I have no idea, but that has always, that, like, I engraved it into my brain, and I was like, okay, I'm finna see who this dude is. And guess what? They don't even show it. I was so sad. But aside from that, everything else has kind of stuck to the book, especially when Rinko was kind of telling her story to Asuna. You kind of see she kind of goes through these little phases, like, hey, when I first met him, to, when we were seriously dating, we were lovers, to this, that, and the other, I wanted to kill him, all those things. They were more detailed in the book. Like, for instance, she said she traveled up to the log cabin in the mountains. I think in the book it was talking about, like, she had difficulties because she couldn't use GPS. She didn't have a map to it, so she had to just kind of figure it out on her own and just kind of play it by memory. You get those little details like that, but aside from those little details, everything else has matched up with the light novel, taking out, Asuna being a complete boss and confident and knowledgeable. Aside from that, everything has led up, and we are still in Alicization running. We are in book 10. However, we have already gone through this much of the book, and I think we're on page 90, 91, somewhere in that area, and we've got about 230 pages to go. Or there's 230 total pages. So we've got a decent amount left. However, in episode 7, I noticed that they skipped a decent portion of, going into this. The anime goes into the Sword Academy. We have a lot to talk about what happens in here, and a lot of important details that you don't want to miss out on, that kind of help build the world of, like, hey, why are there actually bad people? I thought they were, Kikuoka said, that these people obey the laws, almost obsessively, like they make sure that they do not break these laws, but we see, episode 7, episode 8, like, there's some actually bad people. What's up with that? A lot of those things are explained in the light novel that we miss out on, that we do not see in episode 7. So definitely episode 7, I'm going to have a lot to talk about, kind of explain a lot of details, so that way we can kind of get this information, this knowledge, and say, okay, this makes a lot of sense now, instead of just getting us jumped forward and we miss a lot of these really necessary details. Episode 6, we're going to close it here. Wasn't really too much to talk about, it kind of sticks to the book. We do get introduced Project Alicization, and we kind of see Asuna and Rinko kind of say, okay, hey, we see what the project's for, it kind of sucks, but we're here, we can't really leave, so we're gonna make the best of it while we are here. The next part, like I said, we're jumping right back into the underworld. So as we have the underworld go up a little bit, then we got to catch up with the real world. Then we're going to have the real world go up a little bit. Then we're going to catch back up, and we're going to play this game like this the entire way through, at least from what I've read up to book 14 and a half. One thing that is a little concerning to me is that we are running through these books a little quickly. So maybe they take a break after 12 episodes, release another book, and then start the anime season again. Maybe like a 1-2 week little break, something like that, just to kind of celebrate them going through the episodes. So that's all I have for this video. If there's something that I missed in episode 6 from the light novel, please feel free to let me know down below. I don't plan on getting everything 100% correct. I'm only talking about the things that were super interesting to me, that I feel should have been, or I wish could have been in the episode, but due to pacing or just due to something else is not in the anime. That's all I got for this video. Thanks so much for watching. Much love, God bless, and peace out.